Hey VC, what's up? It's me, yours truly. I am back to post a quick video here. This is going to be my entry into Joe Analog Archives, his 100 subscribers contest. Excuse me. I've had it sitting in my favorites for a little while now and just had some time this morning and wanted to just kind of actually respond to a couple of videos. I'm going to try to sneak in a couple of responses this morning before I go out to the gun range, actually. I haven't had a chance to really kind of shoot that much since all the pandemic and everything kicked in, so I'm kind of looking forward to that, but thought I would just kind of sit and knock this out first. So, yeah, Joe kind of gave us three, right to the point type of questions, and so this is going to be my response. Make sure you go to his channel too and check him out. I'll put a link down below. Go over there, sub to him, check him out. He has some pretty cool stuff, obviously, just in terms of his knowledge about music and just what he has in his collection. Really kind of fun guy to watch. So let me jump on board and pay tribute to his channel, and we'll start with question number one, which I'm just kind of remembering these based off of the picks that I have here. I believe the first question was just kind of show one of your favorite live albums. Most of you that have been around my channel or kind of know me in the VC for a while, there's two things that I'm not very fond of, and that is colored vinyl / picture disc and live albums. So I didn't have like a ton to have to pick from here. I do have some favorite live albums like, AC/DC Live or like Judas Priest Live in Japan. But then, with stuff like that, like with Judas Priest, for example, we kind of know that those aren't technically 100% live albums too, but, still. But the one that I just kind of would just automatically go to when it comes to great live albums is like Black Sabbath, The End, or even the Reunion. I mean, that album too is kind of the exact same to me. Excuse me. But Black Sabbath Live is just fantastic. One of the things I typically don't like about a lot of live albums, of course, I love the live energy of a live show, but it seems like a lot of times on the albums, something gets lost, with the different elements that I'm initially attracted to in a song can get lost in live albums and live performances, live recorded performances sometimes. And, Fleetwood Mac The Dance would also be another one that I could easily put as one of my favorite live albums. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Black Sabbath, and I think the thing that makes their live performances, especially the more recent stuff, if you will, like Reunion and The End, is that when Sabbath first started, obviously they were kind of the godfathers of metal, so they were kind of creating it as they went along, and I think back then the riffs and everything they were doing was still very much in the heavy bluesy mode. So they were still heavier than most stuff back then, but it was still very bluesy. So with the newer, concerts and Reunion and The End and all of that, it's kind of like they took the core that was Sabbath, but they put the more modern day metal elements to it, where they, gave the guitars a little more distortion and made them a little bit brighter, if you will. Some songs like Nib, for example, sped up the tempo just a tad bit. Not enough to change the song, but just definitely enough to put it more in a in the proper headbanging mode, if you will. But I think it just kind of like Sabbath just took everything to another level with their modern day covers of their own stuff, if you will. So that's why I love the Sabbath Live. Next question was a name or show an artist that is known to be a part of a group as well as having a solo career. And of course, you have the ones that come right to mind when you're dealing with, like Stevie Nicks and Fleetwood Mac, or I don't know, Steve Perry and Journey, all those, which I absolutely love. But I decided to maybe pick something that I thought was not as common and not just the standard big names, if you will. So I decided to go with the Dum Dum Girls. And this is He Gets Me High from 2006, I believe. No, 2011, I'm sorry. Yeah, the Dum Dum Girls just kind of popish alternative girls group kind of thing. Um, so kind of fun music to listen to. But then the lead singer, her name is Dee Dee, 'cause that's what she went by when she was with the Dum Dum Girls, one of the founding members. But then she also branched off and did some solo stuff under the name Kristen Control. I think her real name, like her legal name, is Kristen Krunger or something like that. Um, but her solo career name is Kristen Control. So that's one where you have the group that she actually was a founding member and was the lead vocalist, I think, throughout their entire career. And then she also did her solo stuff here. Now, I think between the two, I definitely like this album the most. Um, Now, this is not something you're going to listen to and go like, oh my God, that's just incredible songwriting and legendary songs and blah, blah, blah. I mean, that's not what this is. But what this is that if you're someone that really loves synth pop, you're someone that loves modern things that bring about some of the feel of what was great about the 80s and the new wave 80s and all of that, this is an album that you'll definitely find some stuff on that just feels good to you because you love that time period. So songs like Show Me and Don't Wanna Be, definitely my two favorite songs off of this, and just kind of some great synth pop type of stuff. But that's Dee Dee / Kristen from Dum Dum Girls and her solo career under Kristen Control. And the third and last question was show 1 to 2 albums that you consider to be kind of great, your best / great finds in a record store and best / great finds online. So what I thought I would do is I actually kind of did it 2 ways. I thought for each one, since you said pick 2, I picked one for each that was about kind of the emotions behind finding it, and then one for each that was kind of behind the value of finding it. So that was kind of, I thought that'd be a nice way to split it up. All right. So when it comes to uh, emotionally, one of the albums I remember so much, just being so happy of finding in a record store, and this was a close one too because just last year when Mitch, Billy Hurst, and we went to a record show together. Then afterwards, we went and stopped by a record shop, and I found a copy of a Neil Lofgren's Acoustic Live on vinyl that I'd wanted for so long. And this was after I said I'd spent all the money I was going to spend for my day, and when that album popped up, I was still like, nope, mine, get back, whatever. That was a very, very kind of exciting one too, but I think this one kind of nudged it out a little bit. So when it comes to my favorite emotional find in a record store, I'm not sure I ever recall being as excited as I was when I found this at a local record store, which of course is Danzig. Nice, great condition, gold stamp promo. And I've told this story before, not only was it an album that I love, an album that I wanted so much, but when I walked in the store, I'm telling the story probably like the 8th or 9th time, this was actually sitting on the wall. So it's, of course, that's one of those album covers you can notice from 50 yards away. And as soon as I saw it just sitting back there, I was just like, oh my gosh. And I was beelining it to it. And this store, for those that have been to Vintage Vinyl in the St. Louis area, it's a long store. The rows go like this, but it's like you definitely go much deeper into the store than the width. And so sitting back towards the back wall, and I just could not walk fast enough to get to it. And I remember thinking the whole way, my heart was pounding, someone's going to go over there and just grab it like steps before I get to it. And it was like the longest 10, 15-second walk of my life. But I grabbed it and pulled it out and just saw everything was perfect on it. And they had I think I paid $40 for it at that time. And these are going for like $225 or something now. So, but I mean, just the emotion of it. I mean, definitely my biggest emotional buy. Just I'll never forget seeing that thing across the store. It was just like heart just started beating. It was almost like a love at first sight type of thing. Now my best financial buy at a local record store or in a record store, it's going to be this one here, which is Audio Slave Revelations. In 2006, my ex and I went up to the Mall of America actually, and took about half a day to hit a couple of record stores that I've been collecting for a couple of years at that point in time, and just flipping through and saw this, and I was like, oh, I'm not really familiar with that Audio Slave album, but I love Audio Slave, and it's Chris, so it's gonna be good. So I just grabbed it, and it was $12.99, as you can see there. So I picked it up and ended up getting the CD too, and just never found necessarily the need to open the vinyl, if you will. And kind of glad I didn't now, because again, paid $12.99 for it, and today sealed copies of these are going from anywhere from $375 to $400. So not a bad $12 haul right there. So that's probably my favorite emotional and financial buy in the store. Now, my favorite emotional buy online is going to be this one here, which is Sam Magawana and the African All-Stars. And again, just to kind of give you the quick story behind this, because I have told it before in the VC, but my dad was first generation from Africa. I have to tell his story here sometimes too, because it's a pretty remarkable story, and especially in light of all the stuff that's going on right now. My dad's story is kind of pretty incredible in my mind, but maybe I'll share that in a future video. But he came over here under some very tough conditions, worked his tail off, found a way to go through school, and did his undergrad in 3 years, did his master's in a year and a half, and did his PhD in 3. I mean, just totally knocked it out. And he became a professor. And a lot of his students, who international students, would bring him a lot of music. And he used to bring him a lot of African music. And they brought him an 8-track one time that had a bunch of Sam Magawana tracks on it. Wasn't labeled, so we didn't know anything at the time. It was just, we liked those songs. And so as a kid, I grew up listening to those 8-tracks a lot, and just as an adult never knew who it was or whatever else. So one day I'm playing around on YouTube, listening to some different African, videos and tracks, and the song Zela Naganasala comes on, which is my favorite song off of this. And I'm like, holy cow, I found it. That's who it is. It's Sam Magawana, blah, blah. So I immediately go to eBay and try to see if I can find a cassette or CD. I'm not expecting vinyl whatsoever. And sure as crap, this is sitting there from some seller over in Africa. And the starting bid is $9 on it. And it's like just over 20 hours left on the auction. So, for those of you that collect, these, especially OG African pressings and stuff like that, the stuff is hard to find in bad condition, much less to find anything in good condition. So I was like, oh my gosh, I have to have that. So I set the alarm on my phone. I even set the timer on my oven, just because I was like, I'm not going to leave my phone in the other room and miss it or whatever else. So the next day, the timers go off, and I go in, I put in a bid of $250, knowing this is not worth anywhere near that. Like, it's not even worth $50 probably. But my thing was still, no matter what the bid is, I have to have that album. So I put in my $250, and no one else bid. So I ended up getting just an all-time personal emotional grail for $9. And it showed up in fantastic condition, and this by far is the most memorable online purchase that I ever had. It only cost me $9, which is awesome. And I think even like well, never mind. But yeah, so best emotional online purchase, best financial online purchase. This is excluding David Bowie, the first box set, because we know how that was so limited and it just kind of skyrocketed, and you paid $190 for it when it came out, and some places were selling them for well over $1,000. But as far as just like individual albums, this is probably the best financial online purchase, which is Dido Life for Rent. And I can't really say it's a purchase, because it was just one of about 4 or 5 albums I had on a list that my ex got me for Christmas. It's just, so I pretty much got all 5 albums that were on my list. This is when it first came out. And so, you know, her spending money like that was the same thing as me spending my money because it was all the same pot. but but yeah, so I think the original cost for this was like $34, like $34.99 or something like that. And you know, now these are going for 400 plus for the Dido Life for Rent on the Classic Records pressing. Great album too. I mean, oh, really, really great album. But yeah, so online best financial purchase would be Dido Emotional Sam Magawana. So there you go, VC. There you go, Joe. Glad I got a chance to kind of jump on board your contest here. Again, congrats on the 100 subs. Look like you're already pushing pretty hard towards the 200. And hopefully, I said anyone watching my channel, go over there, sub to Joe's channel. And as always, thanks for watching, guys. All right, we'll talk to you soon, VC.